Next dinim over here, we're going to learn the dinim of Tachanun, of Nefilas Apayim. It's called because you fall on your face. So basically, after Shemon Esrei, you say Tachanun. Now Tachanun is a very holy tefillah. According to Chassidus and Kabbalah, it's even greater than Shemon Esrei in a certain respect, because Shemon Esrei you're standing, bittul, and Nefilas Apayim is bowing, which is even in a certain respect even a greater level. Now you're not supposed to talk between the ending of the Shemon Esrei and the beginning of Tachanun. And the reason for that is the Gemara tells a story. There was a Maisa with two Amiroim fighting, and one was that they were brothers-in-law, and one was very angry at the other one, and that Amir that was angry, his sister made sure that she was married. There's a Rabbi Yochanan and his sister were married to the different people. So I think it was Rabbi Yochanan was very angry at somebody, and the sister made sure that Rabbi Yochanan would always talk between Shemon Esrei and Tachanun, and therefore his tefillah of killing your brother-in-law wouldn't happen. One day she came late, she thought there was no Tachanun, whatever, and she told him, "Get up, you already killed my husband." One minute says if the Alter Rebbe says a few words here and there doesn't matter. No, that's not talking, that's davening.
Oh, somebody says there's a Tachanun to this, it's not Tachanun.
No, that's all part of davening, that's not called talking. Okay, now, during Shachris in the morning, you fall, because you wear tefillin on the left, it's not proper to fall on the hand you're wearing tefillin, so Shachris, you fall on your right hand. If you're left-handed, where you wear tefillin on the right, so then you do Nefilas Apayim in the morning, also on the left. At Mincha, you do it on the left. That everybody basically does on the left.
Even lefties?
Yeah, it seems so. I believe probably so. Now, Nefilas Apayim for actual Tachanun, you're supposed to sit. Now, in our case, not all Neschos, you have what's called Vidu, your Shamnu before. That for sure you have to stand. Vayaver Hashem al panav vayikra, you for sure you have to stand. But the actual, the David Elecha, that you're supposed to sit. B'shas Chak, you're able to stand. Then you say afterwards, Vanachnu lo'neda, that's Shachris and Mincha, unless it's Monday and Thursday. And then when you say Mana, say you stand up. So you say Avinu Malkeinu, the short Avinu Malkeinu, and then you say Vanachnu lo'neda, and then you stand up while you're saying Vanachnu lo'neda Manasa, that's when you get up. Okay, now, Monday and Thursday, by the way, it's interesting, is a longer Tachanun. Why do we have a longer Tachanun Monday and Thursday? So Chazal say, because when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Har Sinai, the 3 times, he went up on a Thursday and came back on a Monday. So because Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Thursday and came on Monday, and Hashem told him, then you're forgiven, so Monday and Thursday are special days that we have a longer Tachanun. It's also the market days in the Shtetlich were also Monday and Thursday, because that was like in the middle of the 2 days of the week. That's why there's Kriya, because of the marketplaces. But the longer Tachanun is because of Moshe Rabbeinu.
So it has nothing to do with the Kriya?
No, Monday and Thursday, longer Tachanun has nothing to do with the Kriya Satira. It has to do with Moshe Rabbeinu going up on Har Sinai and coming down on Har Sinai. Okay, next. Now, if under certain circumstances you don't see Tachanun, for instance, there's a bris milah in the shul. It's interesting, even if not the sandik, not the moyel, not the avia ben, not the father of the baby, if there's a bris later on in the shul that day, the shul doesn't say Tachanun. If you have another minyan where either a father of the baby or a sandik, meaning the one that holds the baby, or the moyel are davening in the minyan, so then there's no Tachanun for that minyan. Now, unless if he's hanging around the shul for many minyanim. The same thing like a chosin during the 7 days of Sheva Brachas, right? Well, it goes even before that. A chosin, let's say a chosin get married Monday night, and he's in shul Monday morning Shachris, you don't say Tachanun.
But Sunday you do.
Sunday you do. Now, let's say there's a bris Monday morning in shul. So for Shachris you don't say Tachanun, but for Mincha you do, even if the sandik's there, the moil, after the bris you say Tachanun, unless if you do the bris and right at the bris you do Mincha. Yes. Then if the mincha is at the bris, then you don't say Tachanun at mincha either. But like this, you don't say Tachanun at Shachris, but at Mincha, you say Tachanun even when there's a bris. Now, if there's a chosin or whatever it is, okay, what? Achnos is Sefer Torah. If you read the Gemara, I didn't say all the days you don't say Tachanun. I mean, there's a whole 30 things that you don't say Tachanun. But these are the more common things. Yeah, the Friedrich Rebbe has a letter that if the city has Achnos and Sefer Torah, you don't say Tachanun that day either. But that only refers to the community of that Sefer Torah. Like in LA, if somebody brings a Sefer Torah in La Brea, that doesn't mean Pico doesn't say Tachanun, and Beverly, everybody says Tachanun. That community, that where the people are in that shul, that you don't say Tachanun. What?
Who established the Hasidus days that we don't say Tachanun?
Some of them, the Bittul Rebbe, most of them, the Rebbe established which days you don't say Tachanun. But they're always, it's interesting, the Chassidus Shem Tevin that you don't say Tachanun, whatever. Hey Tevis is Hey Tevis. Chai Elul is Tole Beregish, the Rebbe said Tachanun. Gimel Tammuz, the Rebbe said Tachanun. Hey Tevis, the Rebbe said Tachanun unless there's a chosin in shul. People that have a hergish is one thing. People that are too lazy to say Tachanun, that's something else. Then they should say 20 times Tachanun. Okay, now. Now, when do you do Nefilas Apayim? Isn't it interesting then? When do you do Nefilas Apayim that you fall down? So it's either when there's a Sefer Torah in the room. Like for instance, if somebody would come to shul here after, well, there's no Sefer Torah. After davening. But let's say you come, there's a Sefer Torah normally in the Aron Kodesh, and you come to show you, there's no minyan, you're davening, you're doing the Nefilas Apayim. You only say, Vayaver Hashem Alpana Vayikra Hashem Kel Racham V'Chanan, only if you're davening with the minyan. There is brought down in halacha opinions that say, if you say it with the trup, with the Torah trup, then you would be allowed to say it even b'yochid, but the Rebbe writes in a letter that we don't do that. Basically.
Say if you have 10 people in shul.
No. In Shulchan Aruch it says where there's an Aron Kodesh, you say, then you do Nefilas Apayim. The Kseiser Shulchan brings down this Minig Yerushalayim. Minig Yerushalayim was that whenever there was a minyan, they did Nefilas Apayim, even if there was no Sefer Torah. If there's a minyan, you say Nefilas Apayim, you fall down. But in Shulchan Aruch, that's what the Minig Yerushalayim. But the pearl in Shulchan Aruch, it says when there's a Sefer Torah, that's when you don't say Tachanun. And?
So do you say?
Why? No, you mean it's together with the minyan? No, that you don't.
Forget about the minyan. Person's diving at home. You just go home.
No, because there's no Sefer Torah, there's no minyan, unless you have a Sefer Torah in your house.
You bring 10 people so you can fall down.
What?
The connection to the Sefer Torah. What's the connection to the Sefer
Because it's sitting kedusha. What? I said the only time you do Nefilas Apayim, either you're in a room with a Sefer Torah or there's a minyan. So if somebody's home davening alone, so then you don't do Nefilas Apayim. You sit down, you say it. You do sit down, you say it. Not Vayaver Hashem Apon Vayikra, that you don't say. But the Kepetu Racham Chan Chotosin L'Fenecha David Elecha, that you say.
I know the meaning of Nefilat Apayim, but the Nefilat Apayim is the act of sitting or just...
No, sitting and... Well, B'Shatz Chak it says you can even stand. But
the Torah is up, right?
I'll give you a practical example.
When there's no seat to sit down.
When we were Bachrim, okay, like in 770, even though we were seized, Bachrim never sat when the Rebbe was in the room. Okay? So, Yidam the Rebbe's minyan is saying Tachanun. So we didn't sit down to do, we did like this. We stood and went like this. We weren't going to sit. Or if there's no chairs.
Like at a wedding.
Like at a wedding.
In a wedding you don't say Tachanun.
Huh?
You don't say Tachanun in a wedding either.
If there's no Sefer Torah, you don't need to sit.
What? You do need to sit. You sit, you don't do Nefilas Apayim. But you sit.
But you don't do it when the Torah is out, right? If the Torah is out, you're behind and you're catching up. You shouldn't do it when the Torah is out open.
You could do it if you're allowed to sit when the Sefer Torah is out. If it's in a separate place, so then you could. While they're carrying it, you can't.
I thought when the Torah is out, you're not allowed
No.
to.
No. No, I'm sorry. So, no, not yet.
5 more minutes.
Yes, 5 more minutes. Relax. Sorry.
About the 10 people in the room.
Yeah.
It's even if you're not with the minion, but there is 10 people in the room.
No, only if davening with a minion. It's davening with a minion, not 10 people in the room.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you're davening with a minion, then you could do it.
Even if you did a bit late after the minion, it's not.
You don't do it. If you're still part of the minion, you're a little late. Yeah, but if you're coming and there's no minion in the show, just 10 people talking Dvarim B'Teilim or whatever.
Coffee. So
Yeah. Now a lot of people, the Polish Chassidim, interestingly, have a minhag. They don't say Tachanun on the yahrzeit of a tzaddik. They don't say Tachanun on the yahrzeit of a tzaddik. So now, their calendars, I've seen it myself, their calendars, they go through every day of the year, the yahrzeit of a tzaddik. All of a sudden, everybody became tzaddikim. So every day of the year, they have a yahrzeit of a tzaddik. So most Polish shuls don't say Tachanun. Chassidish shuls. Now, okay, Polish, they were usually, you're right, I stand corrected. The Chassidish Polish or Ungarische, the Hungarian also didn't say Tachanun. In Lubavitch, the minig is, as the previous Rebbe said, when the Rebbe asked the previous Rebbe about it, the Friedrich Rebbe said, there's no better day to daven Tachanun than on the day of a tzaddik's yahrzeit. There's no better time to say Tachanun. So in Chabad, the minig is, we do say Tachanun, like Yud Shvat, all those days of the yahrzeit of the Rebbe, and we do say, unless if it's in Nisan or, those parts of when you don't say Tachanun anyway. But otherwise, you do say Tachanun the whole time. Now, what happens? After Tachanun, you say Chotzi Kaddish. I mean, not by Mincha. By Mincha, you say Tiskabel. But you say after Tachanun, you say Chotzi Kaddish. Now, what happens if a person made a mistake and said the whole Kaddish, including Tiskabel? Nobody was paying attention in Shul, obviously. And the rabbi either wasn't there or sleeping. And they said the whole Kaddish Tiskabel after Tachanun. So what do you do after Ashir Volatzian? You can't, no. You can say Tiskabel is one per tefillah. Tiskabel, because the word Tiskabel, Tzleis and Vusen means you should accept the prayers and the requests of the Yid. That's what the words Tiskabel, Tzleis and Vusen mean. So you only say it once per davening. Once Shachris, once Mincha, once Ma'ariv.
If you have Chazara.
Yeah, I mean, if you have 10 people in the room. Yeah. What happens if by mistake somebody said Kaddish Tiskabel when they shouldn't? I'll give you another example. Saturday night, we say half Kaddish, V'noyam Avatar Kaddish. What happens when we made a mistake? They were davening for them. They said the whole Kaddish Tiskabel. They didn't realize either they thought you don't say it or whatever. They said Kaddish Tiskabel. So what do? So you say V'noyam Avatar Kaddish. And then afterwards, you say Kaddish Shalom without Tiskabel. Mean basically what's called Kaddish Yosem. You say what the morning Kaddish is. Yeah, Yishlama, but you leave out Tiskabel Tzleisim because you already said it. The same thing by Tachanun in the morning. If somebody by mistake, after Tachanun, instead of saying Chotzi Kaddish, they said Kaddish Tiskabel. So then after Volatzian, then you only say Kaddish without Tiskabel. And you have the same thing, by the way, Purim night. After Shemona Esrei, Purim night, and Tisha B'Av also you have the same thing. You say Kaddish Tiskabel, Purim night. Before the Megillah, you say Kaddish Tiskabel, then you read the Megillah, and then after the Megillah, you say V'ata Kaddish, whatever you say, Tisha B'Av, whenever it is, and then you say Kaddish Shalom without Tiskabel.
What about reverse?
What do you mean?
We say Tiskabel and we said Kaddish or Chasi Kaddish.
The Pashas, you have to say it again. Because that's the Kaddish that needs to be said. Okay.